Morning, guys. Kurt from Time Machine Transport. Hope this finds you well. So, a buddy of mine, well, I wouldn't even say a buddy, a brother now, because we talk so much. My brother Josh asked me yesterday to do a video on trucking and how I got into it, and I don't think I'm successful at it, but he wanted to know. So, this might be also a video for somebody who's brand new into trucking. How you get your authority and expect the unexpected at the end of the day, and the highs and the lows. So, like I said, I got my tooth pulled and my braces are fitted. I'm getting Invisaligns. They're doing my tops and my bottoms, so excuse my yuck mouth. I do practice a lot of, or daily and sometimes nightly, oral hygiene. But anyways, so Josh had called me on one of my videos on new authorities and oversize, I think, last February. I think I was down in Hilton Head, South Carolina, golfing with some buddies for the week, and he had called me, said he got my number on a video. So if you want to call me as well, there's another couple people that have called me too. Actually, just yesterday, a guy named Kevin. Kevin, if you subscribe and you're watching this, a shout out to you. He had called on my fool or cheat the keep trucking ELD. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, you can call me 414-477-7845. Again, that's 414-477-7845, or you can email me at time machine transport 1 at gmail.com. Time machine transport 1 at gmail. Just sitting in line right now waiting to get some coffees, so I'll pause you when I order. I'm not getting a frappuccino or anything. I like my coffee strong with a couple Splenda and some cream. So anyways, back to the subject, Kurt. So Josh had asked me to do a video. Now this guy Josh, I got mad respect for this cat, because I mean, he's got little kids at home. I won't say where he lives or anything, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind. But anyways, he's home tries to be home every single weekend for his little ones and his wife, Vanessa, I think. Anyways, this guy goes out in a day cab, absolutely steel warrior balls, and people are probably like, oh, that's not legal. There's a lot of shit that's not legal. Well, it's legal to go out in a day cab, but your sleeping situation, I'm sure you have to fudge a little bit or whatever. And I'm sure he's probably not sleeping as much as he'd like to in a hotel every night. And it's also expensive for hotels, especially this time of year in the summertime when you have a lot of travelers. So the dude's got warrior balls. So I'll tell you about when I went out in a hot shot. I'm going to tell you about the highs and the lows. Hold on, I got to order my coffee. All right, guys, I'm back. So, left you off at the steel warrior balls. So, anyways, Josh had asked me to do a video. And hopefully, maybe if you're new to trucking or new to your authority or whatever, I'm just on my way out. Oh, so I got my injectors yesterday. Today is the 15th? No, the 16th of July, 2021. Finally. So a buddy's car, a family member's coming out. So I'm going to change the injector cups today. I got to finish mounting that toolbox and put my headache rack doors on. And then I'm going to get to pulling the injector cups and putting the new ones in, and then doing. So Earl's coming tomorrow to just kind of double check because I got to do what they call run the overhead. Anyways, it's not important but I'm not a mechanic. So if you are new to this, watching this video, I'm not a mechanic. We have a shop. We got a couple trucks, not many, but anyways, so to the point of the video. So Josh called me yesterday, and like I said, we talk often, which I love. It's flattering to me that he turns to me for, advice, I guess, if you will. So I will tell you some serious stories, truths as I like to call them, on what what we've encountered and what we've endured in this industry. I mean, shit. I mean, really some serious stories or truths. So anyways, I got my CDL. You guys ready for a campfire story? So gather around the campfire. So I got my CDL in 2009. 2008, 2009. I went to Swift. They're driving academy out in Lewiston, Idaho, which actually was, we started our class with like 260 some people. We graduated with like 15 or 19. Very, very low. Anyways, and I went to Swift. I wanted to do flatbed. And a lot of people, you know, they hold on one second, guys. All right, guys, sorry. So, got my t-shirt with my pocket in. I'm missing my Marlboro cigarettes, going out to the shop. Finally got my injectors, like I said. So anyways, so I got my CDL. I went out to Lewiston, Idaho for Swift. People bag on Swift, whatever the case is. And then I went to, after I graduated, I wanted to do flatbed, so they sent me to their flatbedding school. And I met a really good brother of mine, Aaron Childers, and you know, so I went to get in the truck with my trainer. That lasted a couple months. I asked them to give me another trainer. I was going to put my hands on this fucking guy, and they wouldn't. So I said, screw you guys. Not knowing that I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I got big balls, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go drive for somebody. Well, surprisingly, or shame on me, nobody would touch me because I had a brand new CDL. And a lot of these trucking companies don't tell you that. So I was screwed. They wanted seasoning on my CDL, and so I was screwed. I had to go back into contracting. And the reason why I went into trucking was in 2008 when the market crashed. I was owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I was partying. I was doing drugs and partying with the big boys and so on and so on. So I was pretty depressed at that time. And anyways, so that's why I went in, because I had no work. So anyways, so nobody's going to touch you for a year and a half, at least. And back then I think it was a year and a half to 2 years. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go back into construction and you know, make some pennies and just wait for a while. And then, so I waited the year, and I think it was a year and a half, 2 years. And now when I go to apply for jobs, now they want 2 years verifiable experience. So now I'm screwed again. So I ended up landing a job with a guy out of Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Well, actually, so there was a guy out of Chicago hired me to pull dry box, and I hated it. Couldn't stand it, because I had gone out already. How I learned how to, after Swift, when I left Swift, thinking I could jump in the truck and learn with somebody how to flatbed, because I knew nothing about securement or tarping or anything. So a buddy of mine, Carl, had taken me out on the road and taught me how to chain strap tarp, and he never did oversize, but he never logged either. The guy ran illegal all the time. So, and he was definitely bipolar. I told him one day, because he would just fly off the handle for no apparent reason. And I told him, I said, I'm kind of confused. I think there's 4 people living in this truck, not just 2 of us. So I called him Carl. Then the other one was James, because his real name is James, but they call him Carl because that's his middle name. I don't know. Anyways. So I said, there's 4 of us living in this truck. There's one of me. There's Carl, James, and pissed off Petey, because the dude he was all highs and lows. And a lot of drivers that I've experienced have that issue where they wake up and crawl out of the bunk, and 1 minute they're happy, 1 minute they're pissed off, because it's a difficult job, right? So anyway, so he had taught me how to do, but never did oversize. He didn't teach me how to log or nothing. So I had to teach us back when we did papers. So I had to learn how to paper log myself, which I already kind of learned in school, but I would call myself the wizard, because I can make time appear and disappear on papers, and I can kind of do the same thing with my ELD. When I need to, I don't roll with it unplugged often, but when I do, I fucking go down in burning flames. So, anyways, I go out and I drive for this guy out of STS Express out of Brown Deer, Wisconsin, because I hated the dry boxing. I did it for a week, and then I went to drive for this guy. So he got me a load out to Colorado, raggedy equipment, flatbedding, and but I was grateful because at least I was going to get some experience. And so he sent me out to Colorado. The very next load back, I have a 14 wide oversize. Honest to God. 14 wide was my very first ever oversize. Nobody taught me how to flag up, how to do anything. And I remember going through Illinois, and I didn't have a front beak. Well, actually, no, that was a second. I think that was a second or third oversize, because people don't realize that there's provision sheets. Every state has a provision sheet, and it tells you what you need on your truck. Some states don't require you to have a flashing beacon light. And in Jordan, and a lot of, I was surprised at the amount of people that I talked to, flatbedders or oversized guys, or that people that do oversize occasionally, that when you're in the state of Georgia, you have to have you have to pay Georgia separately for a beacon permit. A lot of people don't know that. Anyways, so then I drove for him for up until 2000. So in 2014, I had already trained his name's Dimitri with STS Express. I got his permission to take somebody else out in the truck, and he knew I was a hard runner, so he's like, yeah, go ahead, man. And he always discouraged me, not encouraged me, to get my own authority. He's like, oh, you don't want to do this, you don't make as much money. Yeah, dude, whatever. You make a shit ton of money. I mean, in a flatbed, my goal every week is $8,000 a week. That's my goal. Sometimes I fall just short of it, but that's, I think, once or twice ever. But a lot of the times I'm exceeding that. Well, I'll do the math. If you're out for 10 months a year, that's $320,000 on the low end, or on the average end. That's what a doctor or an attorney makes if you're out that long. But if you run old equipment like I do, you have some issues, and I'll tell you some freaking truths. So anyways, excuse my gap. I got fitted for my braces. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm just self-conscious about it because I'm getting the braces, the Invisalign, where they're like a mouthpiece. Had this tooth pulled, and just a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. Actually, I think a week ago today. Anyways, I'm very self-conscious of it. I don't like it. So anyways, so I got some truths for you guys, man. So I take my brother out. I train him to get him his CDL. Well, during this time of training my brother, my buddy Carl, that trained me how to flatbed and everything, he tells me that there's because I told him I was training my brother to get his CDL, and I already knew that you're going to need some seasoning on your CDL. And another thing is, when you have a new CDL, if you don't have seasoning on it, right? Or you got to have seasoning on it, which means you have to have 1.5 years, 2 years. Now I've heard that it's only a year because there's a driver shortage. So, anyways, so I knew that my brother would have to sit on his CDL for a while. So I trained him, and then there's a guy out of West Bend, Wisconsin, that we rent his equipment, and then he's a state certified tester. His name's Woody, and it's called Woody CDL Service. So anyways, so my buddy Carl tells me, hey man, he said you wanted to put your brother in a hot shot, because my brother was, semis are intimidating, right? So, oh man, I'm so happy we got our injectors, man. I'm freaking stoked right now. I just can't stop thinking about it. Anyways, my brother gets his CDL, and he sits on it for a little bit, and I was able to put him in a hot shot earlier than I thought. So my buddy Carl tells me that there's a guy on Craigslist This is the truth. He lost his CDL. His CDL was revoked. And a lot of people don't know this. You can drive a hotshot with a Class B license, but you cannot be over 26,000 GVW, gross vehicle weight. And they're stringent on that. You cannot, there's no way that, is that the correct word to use on that, stringent? Anyways, so this guy lives in Illinois. He's in a hotshot. It's a 2012 Dodge Dually with a 32-foot PJ trailer. And he goes across an Illinois scale. He's 750 pounds overweight. So he's 26,750 pounds. They revoked his CDL for 5 years. They revoked his personal license for 1 year. Yeah, for being 750 pounds overweight. People think that they bullshit. That's no bullshit, man. They're very strict on that. So anyways, so he needed to sell his equipment. So I was able, so this guy, his name's Dion, and he had his own authority, and he was doing like hotshot loads. And so he's the one that I'm contacting, because he's like, yeah, I'm selling, the guy wants to sell the trailer and the equipment outright for $6,000 cash. That was tarps, chains, straps, the trailer, everything. And then it was a 2012 PJ trailer as well. And this was back in 2014. So, once again, I knew nothing about trucking. I mean, I've learned so much in trucking. It's crazy. See if I'm still recording. I don't want to be talking to myself. So anyways, Dion tells me that it's $6,000 for the trailer and the equipment cash. You got to pay that. And then you can take the truck over on payments. So it was $702 a month. It was a nice truck, except it wasn't a 4x4. It was only a 2-wheel drive, but it was a nice quad cab, 8-foot bed on it. A white Dodge Dually. I have pictures of it if you guys ever want to see it. All these are truths, man. I got some doozies. So some definitely highs and some lows. So anyways, I tell my brother, hey, listen, I'm going to buy this truck to put you in it, and then I'm going to get my own authority, I think. He's like, okay. Nobody's telling me how to get my own authority, no nothing. So anyways, my brother and I are down in, actually, no, not my brother and I. My brother ended up backdooring me on the thing, and he has little kids at home, but, you know, he lives at home with mommy, and he likes to drink or whatever. He's got a good job now, but really no responsibility. Got a couple kids that he pays child support for, and it is what it is. So he ended up not getting in the truck for me. So now my cousin Dan, hey brother, how you doing? I love you. He's a painting contractor, and he sees that I'm loving the trucking thing, and that it's paying me pretty decent. I think at the time I was like 43 cents a mile or something like that. And then I went to like 46 or 48. Anyways, he sees that I'm loving it and I'm making good money, or decent money. And the painting gig is not going well for him. So he says, Kurt, he says, I'd like to get trained how to, on my CDL. So I said, right on. So I take him out. I asked Dimitri again. And at this point, it's 2014. Dimitri had bought brand new trucks at this point, Cascadias, 13 speeds. But it only had a single bunk. My other trucks that I had from had double bunks, so that's why I was able to take my brother out. So my cousin Dan is like, well, how are we going to do this sleeping situation? I'm like, I have no idea. But he's a shorter guy. My cousin Dan's smaller. So what I did was I took 2 boards. This is true. And now this is a 13-speed, so it's got a shifter on the floor. And so we literally, I put the truck in gear at night, shut the truck off so the shifter is in reverse. so it's all the way up and to the left, so it's kind of out of the way. And then we took two or three boards, laid them across the passenger and driver's seats, so right across our, from side to side. And then I put a cot mattress, a little thin mattress on there, a cot mattress, and then a couple pillows, and he had a sleeping bag. And that's the way we did it for months until he learned. But that dude was so dedicated, man. He really was. And he's got his CDL. So anyway, so we literally, that's how we slept. I was in the bunk. He was sleeping across the two seats. And Josh, that's actually I didn't think about that. That's what you could literally do for your truck. Keep three boards in there, a rolled up cot mattress. When we talk, I'll call you. I'll let you know. That's the way you could actually do it in your day cab. I didn't think of that. Why? We just talked about that the other day. I'm really sorry. Anyways, so my cousin gets a CDL, and we're down in at the port in Houston, Texas. We're picking up tractors, New Holland tractors. And I see a guy down there with another hotshot set up, a Dodge Dually and a 40-foot trailer. And I see on the side of his truck, it says Holland's Delivery Service. Black dude, and so we get to talking, and I asked him, I said, tell him what my plan is. I wanted to put my cousin. So I got to back up. So Dion, I totally botched this. This is crazy. So, Dion, the guy that I bought the 2012 truck from, he asked me, why do you want to buy a hotshot? Well, I already knew in my mind I wanted to put my brother in it and then keep driving for the Russian and then save up my money and get a big truck and then so on and so on. So I told him, I said, I want to get out of semi-driving. I've done a lot of lying in my years. And some of it is because I was embarrassed, and some of it was because I had to. And, a lie starts where the truth ends, right? And the truth ends where a lie starts. So, and the reason people don't want to hear the words coming out of your mouth. That's how a lie is created. Or you're just too embarrassed to actually tell the truth because you're ashamed of yourself. And there was a lot of that I was ashamed of myself. So, because I was doing drugs and doing the wrong things and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, and I partied with doctors and cops, lawyers, and scumbags. So, anyways, that was years ago. So, anyways, Dion asked me, so I tell him I want to get out of driving semi. I really want to go into a hot shop because I hear there's more money to be made. He goes, oh yeah, there's more money to be made. So he lets me take the truck for $702 a month. So anyways, I tell him, because now I'm on the road for the Russian. I had already gone down and picked up the truck and paid cash for the trailer. And he's calling me. He's like, dude, when are you going to get started? When are you going to get started? Like literally blowing up my phone. So I tell him, I said, things have changed. He's like, you got to be kidding me. Because he had his own authority and he was doing hotshot service. So I tell him, I'm like, oh, no, I said, hear me out. I said, I'm going to stay with you, but I'm going to put my brother in the truck. And I said, the Russian gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. He goes, oh, okay. So Dion was a foreigner as well, or is a foreigner as well. Hands falling asleep. Anyways, so the time comes and I tell the Russian, hey, I got to take a week off because and I had gone out for this guy for 6-8 weeks at a time, the Russian. So I'd only come home for a couple of days and I'd head back out. So anyways, he says, get a heat rash or something. So anyways, he says, yeah, not a problem. So my brother and I get a load from Michigan because I want to make sure that my brother's comfortable in this truck. And he had already learned how to secure, chain strap, tarp, and stuff like that. And we had done some oversize, so I already let him know on oversize. And yeah, hot shots can take oversize. I did a couple of them when I was in the hot shot, and wait till you hear these stories. They're truths. So anyways, my brother and I go from Michigan down to Houston. It's in the wintertime. And we pick up on a Tuesday. And I tell Dion, and it was Tuesday night we had actually picked up. And I tell Dion, hey, listen, we're going to be in Houston Thursday, and we're going to be ready to roll probably noon on Thursday. He's like, okay. So make sure you have something for us. So anyways, he says, okay. My brother and I head down to Houston. We deliver. I call him about 2 hours before we're delivering. I say, hey, listen, we're delivering at noon, so have something. He's like, yep. Noon comes. We're empty. Now, in this hot shot, we pulled out the back seat, and I built a plywood box with a lift top on it so I could put all the gear, or my driver could put all their gear underneath the lift top. And then we ordered a custom mattress from a place in South Carolina or North Carolina. And it wasn't cheap. It was expensive for one of those foam, custom fitted mattresses, because obviously a hot shot isn't as wide as a semi. So anyways, and then that was the plan, so the driver could have a place to sleep. And I see a lot of hot shots out there where they don't have that. They just literally sleep in the back seat, or they get a hotel or whatever. So my brother and I, we're going down to Houston on Wednesday night. We're down in Cleveland, Texas. And I'm like, we're going to be way, way early, and I don't want to have to, be waiting down there. So we'll just get a hotel and hang out for the night. So we did. Wake up, deliver. Well, I tell Deanne, hey, we're empty now. And he's like, oh, I don't have anything. I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I let you know, like, right when we picked up that we're going to be, I wouldn't have anything until, like, Monday. I'm like, Monday? I'm like, dude, you're fucking insane. There's no, excuse my French, you are nuts. There's no way I can be here till Monday. I got another job I got to get to. And that means that me and my brother and I are going to be laying up in this hot shot with one bunk for tonight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're saying maybe Monday. 5 days? I said, dude, that means I got to get a hotel for 5 days. There goes my whole profit margin. Because what I did was I was going to pay my brother $1,000 a week salary in a hot shot, because you can't really pay him mileage because there's shorter miles, I guess. So that's why I said I'll give you $1,000 a week salary. He goes, yeah, that was more than he was making at the time. So anyway, so he's like, I said, dude, that's nuts, man. I snapped on the dude. And he's like, well, you can get your own though. Then I said, I will. I said, go after yourself, and that was it. And I literally said, go after yourself. So he ends up texting me out. I just called my DOT into the state troopers. You can't move that truck, blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, I don't need your authority. So I'm thinking it's that easy. Like, I could just sign on with somebody, right? Well, it's not. So I'm down in, we're at the TA down in Baytown, Texas, and we're chilling, and I'm just like in panic mode. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Now I got to deadhead this truck home and come up with a plan B, because I don't know what I'm going to do now. So, oh man, did I forget my damn water at the house? Anyways, so the Russian ends up calling me on Friday. Now we slept in that hot shot. I was in the driver's seat, passenger, because of my brother, I wanted him to have the bunk. I didn't want to crush his spirits first trip out. So, anyways, that was very uncomfortable. That was very humbling. And, but, hey, it is what I'm a man of principle. At the time I wasn't, but now I am. So, anyways, let's see if I'm still recording. I know this is a long story, but if Josh, you really want to learn or learn how I got into trucking and the ups and the highs and the lows, that's why I'm doing this. It's basically for Josh and for anybody else who wants to get into trucking or wants a new authority. So anyway, so the Russian calls me, says, hey, I really need you back home because I got this oversize that's going out to Washington and I don't have a driver to cover it, man. Please, please, please. So I told him, I said, well, I can't, man. I said, so I made it seem like I was running, busy with this guy at Dion and training my brother, because we had only been gone for a few days now. And he's like, man, please, Kurt, please. I said, well, I can deadhead home, man, because, I'm your guy or whatever, but you got to make it worth my while, man. He's like, all right, what was it going to take? He said, this thing's paying like $1 gazillion. I said, okay, well, I want $800 up front as a bonus to take it out there, plus my regular 65 cents per mile on the oversized rate. And I said, you got to pay for my fuel up to the house and our meals and one hotel night. So he's like, well, how much is it, $1,000? He said, I'll give you $2,000 to come home right now. I said, okay. So at least I was able to get home on somebody else's dollar. So that was relieving. My brother ended up backdooring me at that, but he's like, I don't know, this and that. So, all right, whatever. So now back to Houston Port with my cousin Dan and Thomas Hollins. So I talked to Thomas and I said, hey, man, tell him the plan. I want to put a driver in this hot shot that I've just bought, and it's going to be my cousin. And I said, could I go up under your authority? He's like, yeah. Because at this time, I'm like, I don't know what to do, Truck's got to make some kind of money. So he's like, yeah. So my cousin gets his CDL, and he didn't need a waiting period. My insurance grabbed him up immediately. At the time, I had Progressive, but now we have Midwest Casualty or something like that, which gives us a really good rate. So you have to plug out to those guys. But you got to have a good driving record and CSA scores. So they're not just going to take anybody like Progressive. So anyways, I asked Thomas Hollins, how much are you going to charge me? He says 25%. I was like, 25%? My fucking hand's falling asleep. I know I definitely got carpal tunnel, and it's really acting up because I picked up that box of shit yesterday and was hammering and whatever. So anyways, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. But, so I said, 25%? He's like, yeah, that's what I get. I'm like, all right, well, I didn't know, again, in trucking. So my cousin gets a CDL, put him in the hot shot, and now this is funny. So we have dinner on a Sunday night, and he's picking up on a Monday morning. And he's going down to Texas. And he's going out of Michigan, just like my brother and I did. And he's supposed to be there like 8 in the morning or something for the pickup. And so we ended up going to the bar that night, and we only have like 2 beers and a burger and want to say goodbye to him. And he's super stoked, and he's like, man, he said, I want to make sure I get there early, man, so I'm gonna say goodbye now. I'm like, oh, I was impressed. Because he didn't want to be late for his first load, he said. So I said, okay. And, oh, no. Yeah. No, or was that when I had, was that my own? Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, so that's right. So anyway, so he goes to pick up the load from Michigan to Texas, and he's going to start running for Hollins. And so 8 o'clock comes, I don't get a call or a text, not a big deal. 10 o'clock comes, still not sweating it, not a big deal. All of a sudden, noon comes, and the broker calls me, and he's like, hey, man, he said, is your driver going to pick up that load today? I'm like, what? He said he should have already picked it up and been rolling. He's like, no. So I call my cousin Dan, and he's like, he picks up, he goes, I'll have to call you back. I'm like, oh, my God. So all of a sudden, later on that afternoon, I call him, like, now it's like 4 o'clock, and I'm like panic mode. I'm like, dang, you got to talk to me, dude. What the hell's going on? He said that the trailer's in the shop and is getting a new axle on it. He was empty. I don't know how the hell this happened. He still won't tell me the truth. Anyways, he said he was going to puke, and the trailer ran into a pole, and he bent the axle, and it was a Dexter axle, so out of Indiana, and they have to ship a brand new axle to this shop. So now he's held up in the hot shot for a couple days. So I got to cancel that load. That was the very first trip out. So it's funny. I still give him shit now because I'm like, yeah, remember the time you didn't want to be late for your first load, but you never got to pick up your first load? Anyways, he paid for all the damages, whatever, and they bent the side rail on the trailer, whatever. Not a big deal. So anyways, so now he's down running for Thomas, and I could see we meet at Baytown, Texas when I'm driving for the Russian. We had lunch or whatever, and I could see he's fucking tired because Thomas is running him ragged. Thomas did a lot of short shit and he really didn't do things the way that we do things, which I'm grateful for that. Anyways, so at this point now I'm like, I'm making money on the hot shop, but I know I could make more if I get my own authority. So I started just asking around, and people are truckers for some reason, and this is exactly what Josh told me. That's how I know that, because I got the same runaround. Truck drivers hold information like it's top secret, confidential, classified information, right? Well, it's not. So that's why Josh ended up calling me, because nobody would give him answers. So anyways, I went ahead and Googled, trucking authority, and read a bunch of articles on it. And I went ahead and got my own authority. So, and nobody told me how to do it. But I'm not one of these guys that like to see my name on shit. So it's funny because I'm not that guy. And I don't like to say I have my own business. I say a lot of times I'm self-employed. And on my business card, like I tell people, I don't have president or owner or vice president or CEO. On my business card, it says Time Machine Transport, my name, telephone number, email, and it says operations manager, because that's really what I am. So anyways, I don't know why I mentioned that part, but anyways, so I find, this is why. So anyways, I go ahead and I don't know that I'm supposed to be getting incorporated first. So I get my authority first. Just at our shop. Danny's fucking got like his fucking own little junkyard here. So anyways, I I go ahead and I get my trucking authority first. It was like, at the time, it was like 900 and some bucks. And I'm at the shop now, so I take my seatbelt off, and I won't keep the truck. I'll keep the truck running. I was going to cancel my videos. So anyways, I get my own authority, whatever, but I don't know that I'm supposed to, or that I'm supposed to get incorporated. So at the time, to secure my authority and to get my MC number, my MC is 866500, my DOT is 2500178. And they're both cool numbers because they're easy to remember. So I open up my first authority in Kurt Sabella Trucking, even though I don't like to see people's names, and I end up obviously changing it later on to Time Machine Transport. So anyways, so now I have an active authority. Now I talk to Dimitri and say, hey, listen, I will Chopper's calling me. I wonder if he got that hood from my buddy. So anyways, I talked to Dimitri, say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about getting my own authority or whatever, but I got to sit on it for a little while so I can get some good loads or whatever. And I said, I don't really know how to dispatch or anything, and I don't have time to dispatch. So he says, I'll do it for you. So he charged me 8%, 7% to just dispatch the truck. And I was like, that's awesome. So, and of course I was still driving for him. And I told him, I said, I'd love to still drive for you and have a couple trucks, and then eventually merge over. So anyways, this was in 2014, June of 2014. That's when I got my own authority, put it on the side of the truck, Kurt Sabella Transport. And my cousin drove for me because I told, so back to the Holland thing. So I gave him the opportunity. I said, hey, Thomas, I said, you got to come down on your rate, man. I said, I'm hearing that I'm way overpaying. People are paying only 10%. I said, now this guy, Dimitri, that I drive for, he's telling me he'll charge me 7%. He goes, oh, there's no way, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, if you don't come down, I got to go. He said, all right, bye. So I left, and that's when I got my own authority. Anyway, so my cousin Dan's rolling for me, and he's rolling pretty hard, and I booked a lot of Dimitri did a lot of like full loads, but then I needed a factor company. I didn't know what that was either. Well, then Dimitri vouched for me because I went to Triumph, and because I was a new trucking company, they weren't going to accept my factor. They wouldn't accept me as to factor our loads. And Dimitri said, hey, listen, the guy drives for me, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to screw you, or I'll take it out of his paycheck. So he vouched for us, and we started factoring our loads. And that's a rarity, I guess. So now my cousin's running pretty hard, blah, blah, but he's starting to tear up the equipment. He fucked up the bed of the truck, and then of course he dented the whole side of the trailer where the rub rail was, and then hubcaps were coming off because I had the little. And at the time I'm pretty stressed because just everything. So anyways, and he ran hard for me. My cousin Dan, now he works for a bigger company or whatever, and he would like to come over. We bought a 2010 Cascadia with a I went out to Roanoke, Virginia. We bought it from a guy named Dave. He took a bath on it. So we got a 2010 Cascadia sitting out there. I'm looking for a DD13 motor for it. Or I'm actually told now I could put a 60 series in it, which that's probably the route we're going to go. But anyway, so it's our only automatic, whatever. And we only have 4 trucks, so I'm not any kind of a big company at all. And a couple owner-operators. So anyways, so now we're running whatever the case is. Well, then a buddy of mine who listens to this channel, he calls me one day and he says, hey, he's got a house down in Avon, Indiana. And he says, and me having the construction experience, him and his wife had moved to a different city. He's a vice president of a company for sales and marketing. Anyways, he calls me, says, hey, how much would you charge me to redo Avon? It's in a nice suburb of Indianapolis, and they had rented it out and this and that, had a lot of problems, and he wanted to sell it. So he says, I said, I won't charge you anything. I said, but you gotta pay for the material. And because we had to repaint everything, and my cousin being an ex-painting contractor, I had already talked to him and said, hey, listen, he was into me for like $5 or $6 grand, my cousin was, and so I said, if you want to work off your debt, if you can paint Avon, I said, this guy's going to invest in the time machine transfer, because my buddy says, after I tell him I'll do it for nothing, and you can just pay my cousin when he's down there or whatever, and then he'll take off a truck and he'll paint your place. And he says, well, I got one better for you. He says, you pay your cousin and you pay for the material. And I'm like, how is that going to work? He said when he sells a house, he was going to invest in the time machine transport. Because at this point, I'm really looking to get into a semi, because whatever, and keep the hot shot and keep rolling. Anyways, so my cousin goes down there, paints the whole house, looks beautiful. I take a couple weeks off here because I needed tuck pointing and the drywall in the basement and this and that and some other stuff. Anyways, so I take a week off here, take a week off there, and then I was down there for a whole month one time. I had to rip out a floor and all this other stuff, and he ended up not getting the monies that he really wanted for the sale of the house. And he and I were both alpha males, and we're still brothers to this day. But we're two headbutting, like, alpha males, 2 rams coming at each other. So it just didn't work out, and I'm so grateful it didn't, because we'd probably be enemies right now instead of brothers. And my term is partnerships are sinking ships. So that didn't work, but I was still devastated. I was like, oh man, here I was really, really super stoked that I could actually get a semi or whatever and get an investor and all this other stuff, but it didn't work. So now at this point, when this happens, during the sale of the house, or the, people looking at it and wanting to buy it, now, if they would have bought it in this market, man, oh my God, he would have got 1.5 times his house what people are buying nowadays. So anyways, during this time waiting on the sale, my cousin and I part ways. There was a load that he says, and I know you listen to this channel, Dan, I'm sorry, but he said that he tarps this load. So he picks up a used, here goes another one. So he picks up a used woodworking machine, and it's supposed to be tarped, going from Illinois to Wisconsin, and it's in the summertime. And he doesn't tell me about this because, and in his defense though, they signed the BOL. So I'm still driving for the Russian at this time, and I get a call from my insurance agent. He goes, yeah, we got a customer that's filing a claim against your company. I'm like, what? He tells me that the unit was never tarped, and it had rained, and it destroyed the like a $30,000 woodworking piece of equipment. So I called my cousin. I'm pretty irate. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? He said, well, I tarped it. I said, they said it wasn't tarped. He said, but they still signed the BOL. And it's true. They did still sign the BOL, and then I was on the road and the court case came up. So I ended up not being able to fight it. I mean, I can still fight it. It's a judgment on my company for, I think, 15 grand or something like that. But I contacted an attorney already. He goes, dude, you can open that up because you drive semi. We can win that case because you have a signed BOL. Anyways, but the court didn't see it that way because I wasn't there to defend myself. So my cousin says, which I know is a lie, but once you, and an old timer told me one time, the truth never changes, a lie always does. And it's true. So he continues to tell me this lie that he tarped the load, but the load was shifting, so he untarped it so he could watch the load. Dude, I don't care what you say, Dan, there's no possible way that you tarped the load and then untarped it before you got to the receiver. There's no, you know it, and I know it. So, but I get it. I'd stick with that lie too, brother. Anyway, so that's how we end up parting ways. It was that plus a bunch of other stuff and this and that. So it just didn't work out. And we're still, we're like brothers, not cousins. So anyways, so now I don't have an investor. I don't have a driver in the hot shot. And because I'm down in Indiana, in Avon for a month, fixing the floor and doing this other stuff, now the Russians really pissed because I've been off for a month. And I told them I'd only be off for 2 weeks. And I was down there by myself doing all this stuff, living down there on a cot, watching a little color TV, and down there every day by myself. It was pretty lonely. So anyways, I tell him, I said, I need another couple weeks. He's like, no way. And I told him, I said, dude, I've been with you since 2011 is when he hired me. Because like I said, I got my CDL. I must have got my CDL in 09 because I remember 2 years almost to the day that I went to work for him. And I told him, I said, dude, I go out 6-8 weeks for you at a time, and I come home for 2 or 3 days. I've never asked for this much time off. I'm asking you for a huge favor. And he had just bought brand new trucks at the time. He goes, Kurt, I got a lot of trucks I got to pay for, 5 of them at the time, and this and that. He had bought some step decks, and he's like, I'm in it knee deep, man. But I said, well, I show you all this loyalty, but you show me none. There is no loyalty in this business. Anyway, so he and I part ways. Now I got no investor, I got no driver, and I got no job. So my wife at the time, we had just started. No, this was before her and I started talking. We've been together. This August will be 6 years. So anyways, so now I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I'm like, well, you got a truck and a trailer, a hot shot. Going to hot shot. So I sleep with a CPAP machine, so it already had a power inverter in it, but I'm a big guy obviously, so I went ahead and I took out the passenger seat, and I go out in the hot shot, and I'm making good money because I'm booking a lot of partials. I'm not booking full loads. I'm doing like 3 to sometimes even 5 partials on a 32. And I worked the shit out of that equipment, man. I mean, I beat the hell out of that truck and trailer, man. So, anyways, I remember this. I had 2 lows in that truck. I remember I was out in California, and I delivered out to Sacramento, and I was there for the weekend. And I got family that lived there, so I was just gonna park the trailer at a little place and head on over there with just pick up, not the trailer. And I remember I've been running so hard. And a CPAP, so I sleep with the one it's like a little nose thing, and it's got so you got to put a head harness on to keep your chin shut, and then you got to put this other harness on with a little nose thingy, like a little pig almost, with a hose coming out of it. You look like a freaking retard. I mean, you really do. You don't look very, very nice in this thing. So anyways, I remember, and when you're in a hot shot, you can't just, especially when you're a big guy like me, you can't just a small guy, you can get dressed, whatever. So that's why I took out the passenger seat, so I can kind of, do what I had to do and, get dressed outside the truck or whatever. And and like I said, it had a lift top on it, so I could put all my gear underneath the box. So I remember I was in Sacramento, California. I'd been running super hard, and I was super tired. And I because I didn't want to get out of the truck in my semi, I can get up and pee in a bottle at night, right? And I don't know how you women do it, man. You guys are amazing. I mean, because my wife goes to the bathroom all the time, typically during the day. But so what I would do is I would save my Gatorade bottles, and instead of getting out of the truck to stand up to go to the bathroom, I would literally take the Gatorade bottle and turn on my side and pee in the bottle and then cap it and put it to the side. Now in my truck, so the passenger seat was out, so I'd be laying on that side, right? on that side with my head on the passenger side. And I remember one night, so I'm in Sacramento, California. I'm at a truck stop, the 49er, and I gotta pee. It's daylight, so I gotta pee, and I kind of roll over and I take the bottle and I'm peeing, and I got my eyes closed, and all of a sudden I open them up, and there's a dude walking his dog, because I didn't put anything on my windshield or over my windows. And the only time I draw my drapes in my semi are when I have the air conditioning on, because it's an older truck and I want to keep the air inside. But that's the only time I ever draw my drapes or anything. So in the hot shot, you can look right into the truck. I didn't give a shit. You want to stare, I'll give you something to stare at. So I'm turned over and I got my mask on and I got my eyes closed and I'm peeing in this Gatorade bottle, and I open my eyes and there's a guy walking his dog staring right at me. And I'm looking at him and I got my CPAP on. I'm peeing in a bottle. He could see I'm peeing in a bottle. And I'm like, oh my God, I have reached my lowest. So anyways, and then, so I went out in this hot shot for 11 months. Not straight, but I remember I had one trip. There was 3 blown out tires on one trip. And I was like a NASCAR pit crew. I got so good at changing tires on my trailer. I had a complete tire fly right off of the trailer. And I had 2 tires fly off of one of our flatbeds. That one sitting right there, it's got I got to get axle spindles over. Sap Brothers didn't torque down I bought 4 brand new tires from there, but they didn't torque down the rear axle, and the wheels flew right off when I was over in Wausau or Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a couple of years ago. Nobody got hurt, thank God. But anyways, Sap Brothers paid for everything except for the spindle. I got to pay for it, and then they're going to reimburse us. But anyways, I'm over in Ohio, and I'm going out to the East Coast because I took these huge ornate steel doors from the West Coast to the East Coast, and they paid really well, and the people would tip you very well out on the East Coast. So I stop in Ohio to get fuel, and I go around. I'm looking at the load and checking the tires, and I look down and the whole tire's gone on the trailer. So I had to shut down at the rest there, or at the truck stop, and then I had to call Dexter in Indiana and order and pick up the brand new axle. So my cousin he was driving from California to Wisconsin to visit family, and he was actually in Missouri, and I asked him to come over to Ohio and help me pull the axle. So he helped me pull the axle at night, got lights out there, blah, blah, blah. We pull the axle, put it in the back of my pickup. I leave the trailer there. We head to Wisconsin. I order the axle. Then my brother and he's following me in another pickup truck I had. So he's following me. We go back down to Ohio, put the axle back on, and then he heads home by himself. So then I was able to get out to the East Coast. So anyways, so now I'm in this hot shot, and then my wife and I meet on a dating site called Our Time. And we've been married this September, will be 3 years, but we've been together for 6 years, like I said. Well, going on 6 years in next month. And so anyways, she was around during the whole, my brother and I not doing the investment thing and getting some trucks and some trailers. And she could see it really devastated me. Like the arrows taken out of the sales. And then she didn't know my cousin or anything, because he and I had parted ways because of the whole Tarpon thing and some other issues. So anyways, she had gotten a divorce. She was married for 25 years, and she had stock. So she sees how hard I'm working and how dedicated I am to trucking. And she's like, you know what? I can take some money out of stock and we could get this thing to work. So I'm like, great, because she knows, I'm a hard worker. Anyways, so I'm like, all right, well, that's great. So we looked on eBay, found a P386. It was gray and black at the time, 13 speed. And it was a decent looking truck, so I bid on it. The guy ends up, and what I would normally do is I would contact the person behind the scenes and say, hey, listen, if you don't get what you want for this truck or trailer, contact me. So I do that to this guy with this P386. It was just a truck, no trailer. And it was a 2001 pre-EGR, and it was a nice looking truck. So Anyways, and my mom had actually told me to go on eBay and look at trucks. I'm like, eBay doesn't sell trucks. She goes, yeah, they do. So I went on eBay thanks to my mom. That's how we found some equipment. So anyways, the guy ends up calling or texting me a week later. The person, because the truck went for 18 grand. I was like, dude, that's a blessing. You should take that and run. He's like, yeah, I didn't think it was gonna go for that much. So anyways, he contacts me, person backed out, as they normally do whenever they bid on eBay. And he says, you still interested? I said, yes, I am. However, he and I were talking back and forth, and he gave me a price. I said no, and then I told him, I said, I'd be in for $9,500 on this truck. That's what I had. And he's like, because my brother and I, when we split or decided not to do, the investment thing, he had given me a check for the time that I had. So it was like 13 grand, I think he gave me. Anyway, so I had 13 grand, plus I had some money in the bank. I'm like, but not a shit ton, right? Because I'm trying to do the hotshot thing and whatever. Anyways, and my wife says, well, let's, if whatever. So I got the truck sitting at this shop and, no, before we buy the truck, I'm sorry. So I'm in the hot shot, and I'm out in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever done. I think it was done North Carolina, because I went out and saw a brother of mine, Sean Murphy, that's a cop out there, and he and I were stationed together. So I had a load out there, so now I'm empty, and I could hear like this humming noise, and I'm like, damn, it's either the rear end on the truck or the transmission. Like I said, it was 2012, bought it in 2014. And I'm like, shit, man, don't tell me this. So anyways, I decided to deadhead back, thank God. So I'm right on 94 in Illinois, in Chicago, right by O'Hare. And it's bumper to bumper traffic. And this noise is getting louder and louder. And I'm like, man, this thing's going to break down. Sure enough, I start going and this thing starts clunking. I'm like, oh my God. So I was able to give it hell and like cut off people and piss off these people and almost wreck this truck and trailer and somebody else's vehicles, just so I could get off to the right-hand side so I could not have to be towed off of the interstate. So I just make it to the off-ramp. I call the dealership, they come, and the guy's like, we got to tow the truck and trailer, your rear end's out. So I'm like, all right. So anyways, so $7,800 to do the rear end on this truck. And I'm like, all right. And it's weird. Well, that was in 2015. So 3 years later, you would think they would have had a bumper to bumper. Anyways, there was no extended warranty, or I think it was because the 3 years was up. It had just expired, the 3-year warranty on it. And of course, so I tell my wife, I'm like, oh, fuck, this came at a bad time because I got 13 grand and I wanted to buy this 387 Peterbilt, so 2001. So anyways, that's when she said, well, we could probably do something. Well then, so I go and pick up the truck. It's the day we're supposed to go to Salem, Wisconsin to pick up the Pete 386 that we had already committed $9,500 to. And so I go down to Glendale, Illinois, pick up the truck and the trailer from the dealership. I drive back to our yard where we were keeping our equipment, and I park the trailer, and I'm back on 94, and I'm heading towards Highway 50 in Kenosha. I get off on Highway 50. There's one stoplight there, and then I'm going to go to the next stoplight, and then you take the Highway 50 to go to our place. Anyways, I stop at the first stoplight, and it turns green, and I go to hit the accelerator. It goes, bzzz, and I got no gear. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So I got no drive gear, but I put it in reverse and I'm able to go backwards. So I pull it off onto the side, on the shoulder. Call the dealership. They come back. They pick it up. My wife comes to get me, my girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So she's like, well, let's go get this truck. We already had the cashier's checks. She had taken out $9,500, and she's taken out a lot more money since then. But, because we've had highs and lows. But anyways, so then we go out there, look at the truck, and I end up getting the truck for $9,200 or something like. Because we brought two $4,500 cashier's check at $500 cash, and I found a couple issues on the truck, and I said, I'll give you 9,000 for it. And the guy he says he took a real bath on it, and it was a nice looking truck. Anyways, so we ended up getting that truck for $9,000 because I brought the 500 cash and left with it. So we get it, find out it needs brakes, it needs a clutch, it needs this. So there goes another 10,000. And at the time, we didn't have our own shop, so it was all the brakes, the drums, the clutch, this, that. It was like $10,000 worth of shit. And my wife pulls out more money to pay the bill. Well, then that's when we ended up, because now I'm looking for a trailer for this truck. And so I go on eBay, guys selling the trailer. I reach out to him, tell him, hey, if you don't get the monies, we'll buy the trailer. I'm interested. It was a 48-foot all aluminum Benson. And so he contacts me. Yeah, he didn't get the money that he wanted for it. And he asked me, would you be interested in buying the truck and the trailer? I said, no, we have money for the trailer, which my wife was pulling out more stock money. And this is why. So the $13,000 I had, 7,800 goes to the rear end. Then the dealership calls me after they come back and get it that they were buying the P386, and they say your transmission's gone. Another $7,900. There goes all my money like that. So I was like, you got to be shitting me, man. So I can't pay the bill because we're already committed to this truck and everything else. So now I got to go and work for somebody for 6 months and put more money in the bank. So I go to work for this Russian guy out of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, for 6 months. And I was home every weekend, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. So that's because I like going out for, 6 or 8 weeks or whatever. And then come home and make my own home time. So anyways, so I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So now back to the guy. He wants to sell me the truck and the trailer, a Kenworth T2000 and a 48-foot all aluminum Benson. So I told him we're not interested. I said, you know, what are you selling it for? He said, $22,000. I said, there's no way. And she had told me we have $14,300, like, all in. So I tell him, I'm like, it was 14.5. And he says, I can't do a 14.5. I said, okay, goodbye. So a few days later, he calls me. He's like, how about 18,000? I'm like, and his name was Matt from Eufaula, Oklahoma. Matthew from Eufaula, Oklahoma. Never heard of Eufaula, Oklahoma before, but it's a dirt little town and weird. They lived in a trailer and it was weird. It was really weird place. Anyways, we stop at a gas station. I know it's not important to the story, but this is funny. It tells you how odd Eufaula is. So we go to the gas station. My wife can verify. Hi, baby, I love you. So we're in the gas station. We stop for fuel. We take her car down and we take the trip. Say, you know, we're gonna roll the dice. We're gonna drive all the way to Eufaula, Oklahoma, and if we like the truck, we're gonna buy it, and then I'll drive it back. She follows me. So we're at the gas station. We're both standing in line. And two guys come in. They paid $1.67 in gas. That's all they had, $1.67. That's all they had. And we're like, dude, where's the $1.67 going to get? That's how weird Eufaula, Oklahoma is. Anyways, back to the story. So the guy says, I can't do it for 14.5 or 14.5. I said, no, it's all, I'm not lying, dude. That's exactly what we have. So then a few days later, he calls. He said, okay, I'll take 14.5 for the truck. So then, it was either 14.3 or 14.5. Anyways, so we drive down, see the guys with the $1.67 in gas, and we buy the truck and bring it back to the house. Now at this time we had the P386 and now we got the Kenworth. So I didn't like the door on the Pete was kind of screwed up, so I had to get a different door for it. It was a different color, and so I didn't like it. So I painted the truck blue. I never painted a car. I never painted rims before painting a semi. YouTubed it. Didn't seem that difficult. It's a work truck at the end of the day. So I painted it blue. So I'm down in Georgia, and I meet a couple guys down there, and now the Kenworth is all white, the T2000, and now we only have two trucks and one trailer. So anyways, I'm down in Georgia, meet these two guys. I'm going to call this guy out because he's one of the biggest dirtbags on the planet. He was our first driver. His name's Trey. His mother hated him. His name's Tracy Laverne Leach is his name. Black dude out of Alabama, Talladega. No, the name of the company was Talladega Raceway Trucking or something like that was the name of the company. And he was from oh man, my freaking arm is killing me. He was from in that area. So anyways, I gave him a business card and said, hey, if you're not, he had some raggedy ass equipment that he drove for the company, holes in the floor of the step deck, just real piece of shit. Anyways, so the guy calls me. He says, hey, I'd like to take you up on that job offer. So I have a cop buddy that runs them, and he makes sure they're not pedophiles or domestic violence. I'm okay if you're a felon. I don't care if you're a felon. But just don't be a pedophile, and don't have domestic violence on your record, because if you put your hands on a woman or you put your hands on a child, that in my mind is a dirtbag. But my cop buddy says, hey, he's good to go, and so I called Raceway Trucking. It was Raceway Trucking was the name of the company, but they were out of Talladega, Alabama. This gal answers, and she says, yeah, he I'm getting a glare in here from my sunroof, sorry. He's our best driver, and we hate to lose him, but whatever. So he seems to have a good reference. So we hire him on. He comes up, we bus him from Alabama up to Kenosha. We put him up in a hotel, and I got to finish. His truck's already painted. Actually, the truck wasn't painted yet. I told him I was going to paint his truck, and he said, what color are you going to paint it? I said, what color is your favorite color? He said, blue. He didn't know this, but my favorite color is blue. So I'm like, well, blue it is. And I was actually going to paint it orange because my wife's favorite color is orange. Anyways, so I painted blue, and I bought a headache rack for it, and, dressing it up, this and that. And so he comes up and tells me, we still got to mount your headache rack, blah, blah, blah. So we put him up in a hotel down the road from us for 3 straight days. The guy never showered once. You could tell when somebody showers. Never showered once. He had some missing nuggets in his mouth, like quite a few. I can't talk. I have one. But he had quite a few nuggets missing in his mouth. And then so we're finishing up his truck that week, and my wife noticed the same thing. She brought us food out to the shop because we were working late nights. And she goes, did he ever shower? I'm like, no, he hasn't. So, but not my business. Doesn't mean you're a bad person if you're a dirty person. So then I tell him, I'm like, you can come stay with us in our spare bedroom if you want. But I know that he's a dirty person, and he smokes as well. And I smoke. I mean, I smoke a pack probably every 2 or 3 days. But still, one cigarette is bad. It doesn't matter. So I'm not justifying anything. And I started smoking in my late 30s when I was partying. I never touched a cigarette a day in my life. Even when I was in the military in high school, I never touched a cigarette ever. But anyways, but I told him, I said, we don't smoke in the house, or I don't smoke in the house, and my wife is very, very clean. Like giving him a heads up, like, dude, he's like, I'll just stay at the shop. I'm like, all right. So he stays asleep on a cot mattress out at the shop where we got a bathroom and stuff and running water and everything, and he's sleeping in the office. So he's okay with that. Well, then the very last day, he's leaving the next day, and he says, I'm just going to go ahead and get a motel out here in Burlington, so I pay for it. And he's like, I want to cut my hair. And Sarah, my wife, was going to make dinner for us that night, and he was going to leave on a Thursday, so it was Wednesday night. So she makes dinner. He bobtailed his truck over to the house, and he still hadn't showered or cut his hair. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. My wife makes a fantastic meal, blah, blah, blah. And we had already taken him out for a few meals here and there, whatever. And he seemed like he was a really good guy. But like I said, he had the worst name on the planet, Tracy Laverne Leach. And if you ever see this video, you're a piece of garbage. Anyways, so the guy, he's one of these know-it-alls, right? Truck drivers are know-it-all. They're doctors and lawyers and psychiatrists and mechanics and electricians, and they know everything. but they don't know shit. Trust me, I've talked to some, and we've had some guys drive for us that said they knew, and they knew nothing. That's not everybody, obviously, and obviously I'm tainted. So, anyways, I tell the guy, hey, listen, you got to send us pictures of your logs because I want to make sure you know how to log correctly. Okay. Man, I've been doing this for years. That's every time you talk to a truck driver at a truck stop, they have to tell you their resume immediately. Yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years. Dude, I just said good morning. Yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years, man. You know, you don't know the stuff I've seen. I just said good morning to you. I know I've been doing this for 30 years. Every time we talk to a truck driver, they have to give their instant resume for whatever reason. So anyways, unless you're a new truck driver, you don't want to tell people how long you've been doing it. But you want to tell them, man, I used to be an MMA fighter. I'll whip your ass. Anyways, so now he leaves. We get him a load down to New Orleans. And I'm trying to get him over to his house in Alabama. And so he drops his load down in New Orleans. That's what she said. And I tell him, I said, you know, we use Triumph Factoring business or factoring company, so you have to have your paperwork in by noon if I get paid in order for me to get paid by the load. And it's got to be 100% legible. So if you don't think it's legible, then don't send it to my email. Yep. Okay. Thursday to Friday, don't get any pictures of any logs, right? I get about 30 some emails from this guy, and they're the scan, because we use Genius Scan, and every one of them, all 30 some, I wouldn't say 30 some, but definitely like 20 some, and they are all, I gotta prop my phone up, man, my arm is killing me for some reason, man. So how am I gonna do this? Anyways, drink up my coffee. So I call him. I'm like, hey Tracy, I said, because they're all blurred, they're all like unlegible. And I tell him, like, hey Tracy, do you think that, can you read those? No, they look pretty blurry. I'm like, all right, I said, I asked you not to send them to me then. He said, oh, my bad, man. So then I told him, I said, dude, please don't send them to me unless they're legible. He says, okay. We hang up. I swear to God, he sends another 10 to 15, all blurred. Unlegible, crooked, smeared. So I call him. I'm like, hey, Tracy, are those legible? He's like, no, man, they're still. I'm like, dude, please, what do you not understand? I said, I get so many emails. Like, literally, I have like 40 scans from you, and every one of them is not legible. Yeah, I know. I'm like, and so then he starts getting, well, dude, man, if I could just fax it to you. But I said, dude, you said you knew how to use Genius Scan, and that you were so savvy with your tablet and this and that. And he was like a show off, like, I can do this with it. So then he goes, well, my tablet's too old. I said, it's not your tablet, dude. I said, you and I have the exact same tablet. Exact. It's a Galaxy. Exact same tablet. I said, and I can scan just fine. No, man, blah, blah. Then it's something with your email. I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, dude? I said, just send me a picture of anything in your truck. Anything. So he takes a picture of an Alka-Seltzer box from his tablet. And it's all blurry and smeared. I said, dude, clean your freaking lens. Clean your lens. So I started laughing. I'm like, dude. And I said, I still haven't received. Now, at this point, we got him a load because he delivered Friday afternoon, late afternoon, and got the load off. And then I got him another load, surprisingly, on a Saturday, going from New Orleans down to southern Florida. And then I was still going to try to work him back home so that he could grab the rest of his clothes and the rest of his gear. And so anyway, so Saturday comes and we're still going over this scanning thing. And I'm like, dude, what do you not understand, dude? It's not that easy. Clean your lens. You self-righteous prick. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, you're a self-righteous prick. I'm like, where the hell did that? Now, again, the bipolar thing with truck drivers. So he and I start having words. And he's like, you know what, man, I'm just taking your truck and trailer home. I said, what? So anyways, he goes MIA with the truck and the trailer, empty. He had delivered the load to Florida on a Monday, and we were still having words back and forth. So Monday he ends up, so I cancel his fuel card and say, well, wherever he runs out of fuel. And he had asked for $1,000 cash advance, so we gave him $1,000, you know, on the way down there. And so on the last day or whatever, I shut off his fuel card and said, well, you can just use the rest for the, because I didn't want the guy to skate on us, right? So he used like the last $500 or whatever that he had for fuel, and then he was out of fuel, so he must have just had enough fuel to get home. So anyways, the truck, so I call the Burlington Police Department. They tell me I have to go to Kenosha. Kenosha tells me I have to call the state that he's in. I'm getting all this runaround, right? So a week goes by, and my agents, like 3 or 4 days goes by, and my agent's like, Kurt, you're gonna have to file a claim. And I'm like, Ryan, I really don't want to, blah blah blah. So I end up filing a claim. So a week goes by, and I get a call from this gal, and she says, hey, is this the owner of Time Machine Transport? And I'm like, it is. And she's like, I've been driving by this truck for the last week, and you guess by my tone, she was a black woman, and that's all right. I got black friends, I got Mexican friends, I got Italian friends, I got Jew friends, anyways, Palestinian friends. So anyways, she said, I've been driving by your truck for the last week, and just want to let you know where it is. It ended up being his girlfriend, Tracy Laverne Leach's girlfriend. Well, then I call the insurance company and say, hey, the truck's over here. And they say, okay, well, right on, go get it. They were just about to cut us a check for the truck and the trailer that day. And he's like, well, go get it. I said, dude, it's not that easy. What if I mean, this guy's a freaking piece of garbage. You don't think he did something malicious to the truck? Because, you know, we were exchanging words, you white devil mother, and I was calling him an N-word and all this stuff. So it was pretty intense. Anyways, yeah, I know, shame on me, but shame on him as well. So, because I initially, when I told him, like, well, just come back to the shop, man, so we could talk like men, blah blah blah. And I really shouldn't have. I should have calmed my patience. And my brother, the one I was going to invest in our company, he's a very reasonable person. He's a big monster physically, but he's very business savvy. He knows how to talk to people. I mean, he's been doing it in his business for a long time. And hey, brother, I love you. I know you watch my videos. So anyways, he's like, dude, you should have went about it a different way. You should have talked very nicely to him, had him come back to the shop, and then fired him. Then I'm like, yeah, you're right. Anyways, so the insurance company ends up sending over a person, and they take a picture of the chrome bumper in the front, and it was dented. They said, was that like that? And I said, no. So they ended up towing it to a recovery yard in Hueytown, Alabama. It's a Copart recovery yard, the truck and the trailer. So they have it down there. My wife and I got to jump in the car. She's got to take off work. We got to go down there, check on this truck. Now, we just bought brand new tarps, straps, chains, everything for this truck. Now, they were on the truck, so Tracy Laverne Leach did not steal this equipment. It was because when they check the truck and they take pictures, and the tarps and the chains and the straps were in the picture. Well, the straps weren't stolen. The chains were all stolen. And the tarps, the brand new 4s and 8-foot tarps, were all stolen. That happened at the recovery yard. Tracy Laverne Leach didn't, because they were in the check-in pictures. But they claim no responsibility. It's right in there. We are responsible for no missing items, blah, blah. So anyways, we go down there. They clip the band. We bought 4 brand new batteries for the truck. They clipped all the brand new batteries. So now we got to go and get a couple batteries to start the truck. I'm cranking on this thing. Truck ain't starting. It ain't starting. So I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So they come and they tow the tractor to the Peterbilt dealership in Birmingham, Alabama on 65. They look at it. It's there for a few months. They find out that he put DEF in the fuel tanks. Now, it's a 2001 Pre-GR. It doesn't take DEF. He put DEF in the fuel tanks. I'm going over this whole battle with him. and told me, you guys got to drop the oil pan, blah, blah, blah. He, why, if he did something malicious to the fuel, he probably did something malicious to the oil. All this other stuff, they wouldn't do it. Finally, I snapped. I said, I'll just pay for it out of pocket. So they did, and they found like he had put like dirt or gravel in the oil. So anyways, they totaled out the truck. And they paid us out for it. So now we got the T2000 and the Hot Shot, and that's pretty much it. And then so I ran the Kenworth for a while, and then bought the Pete back and redid that, and then bought a second trailer for it. We bought that one from, where the hell did we buy that one from? We bought the first one from Eufaula, the second one from, the second one was from TMC, on an auction site. And then the third one we got from a going out of business lumber company in Wisconsin. All 48-foot aluminum Bensons. So anyways, so all this other stuff. And then, so I then paint so we got the P386 back, and then we got the Kenworth, and then, so we paint so as I'm like, well, we should buy another truck or whatever. So I'm looking on eBay, and then we find a Cascadia, the 2010, with a blown motor on it. The guy took a bath on it. He got an extended warranty. The dealer wouldn't grant the warranty, or wouldn't warrant the warranty, I guess, if you want to say. So we have one of those Pro Tote units that clip into the fifth wheel. We bought it brand new out of a place that builds them in Indiana, the only place that builds them out of Indiana. And the reason why we did that was because we bought the truck in Roanoke. So I ended up getting that truck by accident because I was going on the site and I saw that it was going for cheap, and I'm like, wow, I'm not going to let anybody have it that cheap. Well, we ended up winning the auction for $7,900, and I was like, my wife's going to fucking kill me. So anyways, we buy the truck, and then now we need a trailer for it. So then we got a 48-foot, and we have all older trailers, but we keep them really nice. Like, people say, those are 95, 96 trailers. They look like they're 2000 somethings because we keep them clean. I don't like rust, so we have with all the steel, the landing gear, and the ass ends all sandblasted, and then we put a rust inhibitor on them. Clean up. We don't run steel rims on the outside. Only steel's on the inside. Aluminum's on the outside. New DOT, new lights, new boards. I mean, we really clean them up nice. So, I mean, I can show you our trailers. I'm not that way. So, minus that one that's got the messed up spindle. It needs new boards or whatever. But anyways, we bought that 48-foot all aluminum Benson a few years back and paid $4,900 for it. Yeah, believe it or not, $4,900. The one we got from TMC was $9,500, I think it was. It was under $10,000. And originally it was $10,000, but there was some light issues which ended up not being their fault. It was my pigtail that went into the tractor. Anyway, so I had the T2000 painted by these freaking Muyans in the inner city, and they just totally, it was originally, if you go on my YouTube channel, the front picture that shows with the tow unit, that T2000 was the first color we had it painted. It used to be white. And then the green Cascadia is the one that we bought from Roanoke, Virginia. And the reason why we bought that is because an RGN wanted like $4 a mile to bring it 800 and some miles. So we were like, well, shit, that almost pays almost half of the tow unit, because the tow unit was like $9,000 or something like that, brand new. So anyways, so then so while we're working out the deal with the guy, because I told him, I said, listen, man, I really didn't want to buy the truck, but I'm in line for it because I bid on it. I said, but can I pay you by the month? He's like, yeah, not a problem. So I ended up started paying him by the month, but he needed like $4,000 down because he needed a down payment to buy a different truck, because the company he was running under had a truck he could lease, but he had to put $4,000 down. So we sent him $4,000, and it was $7,900. It was actually $8,600 because he had a brand new bumper for it. He had backed up and he grabbed something and it ripped the front bumper off. So he had a brand new $900 bumper or $1,000 bumper that he said, I'll give it to you for $600. So we got the truck for $8,600. So anyways, but then actually, yes, $8,500 because initially it was, no, $8,400 because initially it was $7,800. And and then the bumper was 600, so it was 8,400 bucks. And then we paid him a couple months for some storage or whatever, like 50 bucks a month or something like that. So anyways, until I could actually, because they were on back order on the tow unit, so we couldn't go out and tow it. So that's the reason why I asked him if we could just go ahead and put a down payment and then pay it off until he said not a problem. So anyways, now during this time I had bid on another truck. my truck, the 2001 Century Class, and it looked like dog shit. But the reason why we bought it was it had a rebuilt motor and trans. So now I gotta go out to California, Fresno, and we bought that truck for $7,900. And then somebody outbid me and went to $8,000. I said I won't go a dollar past $7,900. But it was a 13-speed, which I wanted. It was the Century Class with the windows in the back of the cab. You guys see my truck, and for some reason I love those trucks. I love the style of it for whatever reason. So that's the truck I really, really wanted. And but the inside was dog shit. The outside was faded red paint. It had all 8 drive tires were bald. Had one missing mud flap hanger and a mud flap. But it had brand new steer tires. So I'm like, well, I'll just, because I was looking for a company to tow it back and or drive it back, and they just wanted outrageous prices. So I got a one-way ticket to Fresno. There's a layover in Phoenix, and then from Phoenix to Fresno. Guy picks me up I bought it from a guy named Harry, but Harry was on the road. So we worked out a payment deal with Harry as well. And I'm doing this video for Josh because we got some really good pricing and stuff. And like I said, my wife invested, a considerable amount of money. So it was initially the $9,000, and then another 14,500, and then another 70 or 8,400, and then another like $8,000 or something like that. So anyways, the guy where the truck was parked, Harry's friend from Fresno, California. Well, here's a quick funny story. So my wife and I shoot guns, and my backpack was my shooting bag. And I'm going through the airport and and I have my check-in bag, and then I have my carry-on, my backpack. Well, and I got inside, and I got a one-way ticket to Fresno, and I'm in O'Hare, and they're going through my bag multiple times. They empty it out, and they're feeling through it. They're taking a metal detector, going over it. They're double checking me. They come over. I was literally in like security for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, what is going on? And the guy's like, sir, he said, I just need to do one more thing. So he pulls out this metal silver chrome wand and starts beating me with it. No, he didn't beat me with it, but it was a collapsible chrome wand, and he had like a little piece of cloth on the end of it, and he waved it over my whole body and kind of like touched my pants and my shirt, and then he went over to this machine and he must have put the cloth in there, and he's like, oh, okay. He said, you're good. And he says, but however, your bag has like explosives residue on it. And I'm like, so he said, that's why your body came up clean. And he said, and the bag is clean. There's nothing in it. And he said, but there's explosive residue. I said, that's because it's my shooting bag. He's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm so sorry. But during this time, he's talking to another guy on the other side of the wall, a guy, and he's not a TSA in the TSA uniform, but he's talking to the guy on the other side of the wall. Like they're just like this over the wall. And they don't know that I see them talking. Well, when I get on the Bird to fly to Phoenix and then to Fresno, that guy followed me on, so he must have been an air marshal. Thank God, right? Anyways, guy picks me up at Fresno. It's like midnight. Takes me over to the truck. They had to have brand new batteries put in it because it wouldn't start. It sat for so long. And I start this truck up, and every light lights up on the dashboard. Beep! And I'm like, only a few of the lights work. The brakes are locked up. I'm like, my wife is going to literally shoot me. Anyways, they had a Al Qaeda truck stop down the road, drove it there, was able to release the brakes. They broke free, and then, so this was on a Friday, so my game plan was to pick up the truck, go to Fresno Freightliner, get a mud bracket or a mud flap bracket and mud flap, new lights, new pigtails. I'll run over to AutoZone, get get some tools because I couldn't carry them on the plane because they're too heavy. It was 50 to 50-pound limit or whatever. And then I'll drive up to Sacramento. It was right before Thanksgiving. And I'll drive up to Sacramento where my cousin Joe lives. I'll get 4 brand new tires on the drives because I got to go up through Donner's Pass, and it's in the wintertime. So I'm like, I better, or actually in fall, because it's in November, right before Thanksgiving. This was the Friday before Thursday's Thanksgiving. Anyways, get over, park the truck after it lights up like a Christmas tree. I fill it up because the guy said, well, just put water in. I said, I'm from the Midwest up north, man. We can't put water in the coolant. It's gonna, so I end up topping off the thing with coolant, which cost me a fortune at the Al-Qaeda truck stop, and shut the truck off. And I don't sleep because I'm like, my wife's gonna kill me. At the time, not my wife, my girlfriend. And that's what my wife, Sarah, man, I love you so much. You have sacrificed everything for me. And I think I've done the same for you. So, anyways, so the next morning I wake up, didn't really sleep. So I'm up because Freightliner opens at 6 or 7, and I start up the truck and as quiet as a mouse. This thing is purring like a kitten. No lights are on. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Drive over to Fresno, get everything, go to AutoZone, ask the guy if I could put the shit on in the parking lot, do so, and then head up to Sacramento. Now this is Saturday night. I get up there and my cousin has dinner for me, blah, blah, blah. We hang out. And then I tell him Monday I need to go and get some tires put on the truck. So Monday comes, he takes off of work. Monday, and I thought I was going to have to pay for IFTA permits across the country because it's an unplated vehicle, and I'm going to have to pay IFTA prior to that because they want me to pay IFTA on the truck because it's got no plates. Well, because it's a California truck and they were trying to get rid of all the old trucks, they gave me, so the state of California, DOT, they let you bring old trucks out of there and you can go across the country and not pay any IFTA. So it's a special permit. So I didn't have to pay for anything going across the country. So Monday comes, bring it over to a dealership or a tire place in Sacramento. I tell the guy, I want you to trash all 8 drives because they're bald. And I have pictures. If you guys want to see them, I can send them to you or show them on a video. Bald. I mean, like grandpa's bald. So anyways, the guy's like, we can't. I said, and then you're just going to put the aluminum without the aluminum rim without the tire on the inside, and then all 4 tires on the outside. You can't do that. That's not legal. I said, all right, I'll just go somewhere else. Whoa, wait. Anyways, they end up putting them on, and then so I go to my brother's house, or my cousin Joe's house. The Packers are playing on Monday night. We watch the game. I leave there around midnight. Excuse me. I am home now. I leave midnight California time, so it's 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. I leave California. I am in Wisconsin Thursday morning around 4 a.m. About 4 a.m. Thursday morning, park the truck. My wife comes, gets me. She's already got my bag packed. Go home, shower. We jump in the car and we head down to my brother's down in Kentucky for Thanksgiving. Anyways, so then that truck sat for a while I was driving the T2000, and sat for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then we ended up painting it and doing the whole inside. And if you guys go back to my videos, you can see the inside of my truck. I've gotten a lot of compliments on the truck because it's pretty wild. So anyways, so then the T2000, I painted it to match my truck. I call them the twins. And then the Cascadia is green, and then the 386 is still blue. So anyways, now the thing is with owner ops is they're prima donnas. And I had a guy, Frankie, that was under our... So this is interesting. So the guy, Thomas Hollins, when I have my authority in 2014, and I'm still driving for the Russian, 2015 comes, January of 2015, and I'm still driving for the Russian, and my cousin's still in the hot shot. And guess who calls me? Mr. Thomas Hollins from Hollins Delivery out of Houston, Texas. And he's like, man, he said, I had these cowboys down here running under my authority, and they didn't want to log and all this other stuff, and they screwed up my CSA score, and I can't get any good paying loads. I know you have your own authority now. Would you sign me on your authority? I said, absolutely. Now, he was getting us for 25%, right? So he says, how much would you charge me? I said, 26%. He's like, what? I said, I'm going to charge you 26%. He's like, oh, come on, Kurt. I said, but I'm going to pay your insurance. So he's like, you're going to charge me 26% and you're going to pay my insurance? I said, yep. So he and his dad came on as owner ops. Then he had another guy come on that his name's David Guerrero. He was a piece of freaking shit too. He says he didn't want to tarp. He said, I'm not going to tarp loads. He said, I'm not going to risk my life, man. It's not, no worth is risking your life over. I have a family. Well, then I saw him on Facebook and I realized why he didn't tarp is because he's a big, large Marge, like 400 and some pounds, and he can't move. That's why it's. And then I remember one time I had gotten a load out to, they're no longer with us. I found Thomas, and not his dad, but Thomas was doing some shady, crooked shit. Behind my back, he was using my company's name to do loads that he wasn't telling me about, and I found this out because I went to book a load with a broker, and he's like, this is Kurt with Time Machine Transport? Yeah, he goes, do you have a partner named Thomas? And I'm like, no, I have an owner-op named Thomas. He goes, an owner-op? He's not your partner? I said, nope. He's like, oh, my God. So he tells me that he's been doing multiple loads with Thomas, and Thomas and his dad and David Guerrero weren't sending me logs. And I told him, like, the first couple weeks, I said, you guys aren't sending me logs, man. I said, I'm going to pull the plug on you. I said, if you guys screw me or you don't do what I say, I'm just going to pull the plug on you. I'm not going to risk my safety score. Your safety score is already screwed up. Don't screw up mine. Well, he didn't want to listen. So I told him, I said, if I don't receive them tomorrow, if you don't overnight them logs to me, I'm going to pull the plug, Thomas. So he ended up sending me the logs, and I'm looking at them, and they're all logged. Like, there's no, back in the day with papers, you had to flag everything, put the city and state, and then on the top line, and then put what you were doing on the bottom. Unload, load, pre-trip, whatever the case is. And then in the little lower left-hand side, you had to say where your pickup and delivery cities were, state and city. So nothing's flagged. It just says, like, it says Texas. And then there's nothing underneath what he's unloading or loading. And there's no, like, commodity, and there's just says the state on the bottom, Texas. I'm like, Thomas, this is the wrong way to log, man. Oh, man, dude, that's a violation of your constitutional rights, man. They can't. They ask you don't have to tell them. I said, do you tell a DOT cop that you're going to drug test you? Anyways, I found out the reason why he wasn't is because he was going behind my back and doing shady shit. So the guy owed him $1,900, this broker. And he ended up giving us the check for $1,900, and that's when Thomas calls me. He's like, man, I need that money. I said, you know what? You've made a lot of money without paying me on my authority. Guess what? It's going to cost you $1,900 because I'm sure you made probably way, way, way more than that, you and your dad. So, but I remember David Guerrero, I got him a load out of Houston going over to PA, and then I booked him some lifts going from PA over to Houston, or over to Salt Lake City. And he had picked up on a Monday or Tuesday, so I figured he'd make PA Thursday afternoon and pick up, and then probably deliver Monday in Salt Lake City. And the load was paying good, and it was on tarp because he couldn't do tarp loads because he's a large Marge, but he said he didn't want to risk his life. He's a liar. So anyways, I booked a load for him, and then I call him like, hey, I got this load, but he goes, well, how much is it paying? I was like, $3,600 just for two lifts. He's like, oh, man, that's not really that much. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? I said, I have to go through these loads with a fine-tooth comb because you don't tarp. So you know how many untarp loads are going out of P? Not many, man, going to where you want. He's like, I don't know if I said, dude, you're not going to be empty Thursday, are you? He's like, well, no. And I'm like, dude, you left Tuesday morning from Houston. You're not even going to be in PA on Thursday? He said, I drive slow. Okay. Anyways, end up the next day, his radiator went, so he wanted us to front him money for this, and I fronted him plate money for his plates, and that's the way owner-operators are. So they some of them, if they're under a company will have their plate on your truck, and then that's how they keep their thumb on you. So anyway, so we've done that for owner-ops fronted them plate money or whatever. So anyways, so now I repaint my truck, and then we got a lot of money into my truck, and then obviously the 386, and then the Cascadia, and then the T2000, that one was going to need injectors. And then the mechanic tells me, oh, it went from, putting in injectors for $2,000 to now you need this big gear in the front. I need a liner. I need a head. I need a gasket for the head. It ended up being like over $10,000. Anyways, trucks are very, 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 very expensive. So I would recommend that if you do get into the trucking game and you get your own authority, get yourself, because I remember when we had the T2000. So when we had the 386 at the storage place, no trailer, was just a truck and then the hot shot setup. And then once we got the T2000 and the flatbed, our first trailer, we still had the equipment stored over at this place in Franksville, Wisconsin. So you had the hot shot set up, a truck and trailer, and then another truck. And it was costing us, it was $400 a month. So anyways, the owner told me one day when I was painting I had the rear end sandblasted, and I was rusting him, and he goes, Kurt, you can't do any work on our lot. I'm like, dude, I'm painting. Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you got to use our shop for that. I'm like, dude, go fuck yourself. His name was Ovi. He looked like a little rat. He was out of Chicago. Little rat face looking dude. Anyway, so he and I had words, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, his mechanic says, oh man, dude, you should get your own shop, man. I can bring you a lot of customers. His name's Ron. Ron was a big turd in the toilet too. And oh yeah, I could bring all these customers. I said, dude, and this is when we first got our shop out in Burlington. We had just a one stall shop at first, and now we're at the end where we have a couple stalls. So anyways, it is thanks to the big turd though that we do have a shop, because he said, yeah, man, I could bring on. I said, dude, I don't care about customers. I don't want to do that. You can work on anything you want, anything. And I don't need a piece of it, swear to God. And I said, however, and I will finance, my wife and I will finance the whole entire shop. We'll buy all the tools. We'll pay all the bills. We'll pay the insurance, the utilities, everything. You tell us what you need, we'll get it from Snap-on. Really? Yeah, and you don't have to pay a dime, not one dime. He's like, what is in it for you? I said, you're going to work on our equipment for free. And whenever we need it done, whatever you're doing, you got to drop it and you got to work on our stuff. And he says, okay. Yeah, he ended up stealing those brand new batteries out of that Freightliner, our neighbor's aluminum ramp that went into his shop, stole the brand new batteries out of my truck set, and a big turd, so he was gone. Then we had a second one. Cody said he went to Arizona Institute of whatever, technical AIT or whatever it is, AUT, and then he says, so he was on methadone. He was using our shop truck, the 2012 Dodge. And Ron destroyed that truck. He crushed the whole side box with a forklift. Got the whole headliner just full of grease. And Cody was on methadone. He was telling me he was coming in at 7 or 8, wasn't coming until 11, not doing his job. Then we had Greg and Cody. Greg was a big turd. Cody was cool. Then we had our last big turd, Christopher Edgerton. I've been through the ups, so many highs and lows, man. So many highs and lows. So the thing you got to do is you have to find yourself good deals. First off, you have to learn how to wheel and deal with people and tell them, hey, listen, I'll buy this. Can I take it on payments, whatever, this, and that. And a lot of times they will, if you put a large down payment and drop an agreement with them. And if you know the person or whatever, and you can trust them, you can get some good deals and you can pay it off month by month. We've been fortunate where we ran into some deals like that. So if you do find a deal on eBay or whatever, Josh, then go ahead and see if you can arrange something with somebody, right? But yeah, because Josh wants to get a sleeper and get out of the day cab, because dude's got warrior balls, right? I don't know how he does it, and he'll go out for 5 days and then he'll go home for the weekend. But anyways, try doing the board thing across the seats, Josh. I think that might work for you. But the thing is have a base of operation. So the best thing that my wife and I ever did was get our own shop, because you have a place to park. You have a place to work on your stuff. You have a place. I mean, literally anything you can do to a truck, you can do literally in our shop. I mean, we have over $50,000 in tools easily, if not more. And then with our tow unit and stuff like that. So, and then we have an enclosed trailer. We're buying a cargo van from my brother Jose. How you doing, brother? I hope you're feeling okay. And we got our Cadillac that we're going to have restored, and plus all of our tools and this and that. So we have a lot of stuff to store, and we're not hoarders. You've seen our shop. Obviously, it's a legit shop. But have a base of operations. Have a legit office. Keep your safety score perfect. If you do have owner ops underneath your authority, you got to check them out, from top to bottom. Cause they could be prima donnas, right? I drive slow. I had a guy, Frankie. Oh, I just got my truck washed, and the place I'm picking up at is all muddy. I don't want to get my truck washed. I need a different load, dude. So they're prima donnas. They're less work as far as they look for their own loads, and they have their own equipment. They pay for their own insurance. They pay for their own fuel, stuff like that. But they're a liability as well, because they're a bunch of prima donnas. Because I don't want to do this, or I drive slow, or this, and then what do? It's like you can't keep your thumb on them, because they'll just and hey, if you're gonna be that way, Godspeed, man. Good luck, brother. If you got it. And these people that are out here saying, oh yeah, I used to have my own trucking authority and my own truck, but that's just a lot of bullshit. It is a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of paperwork. People don't realize. They think that we just jump in our vehicles, our rigs, and we just start them up and we just haul ass down the road. There's a lot of, you got HVUT tax, heavy vehicle usage tax, $500 per truck per year to use the federal highways. You got your quarterly IFTAs, you got your UCR, you got your safety audits. There's so much stuff. You got your annual inspections. You better have your shit squared. And like I tell people, competition is great. I love competition. People are like, what? You're lying. No, I'm not lying. Competition makes you bring your A game every single day. If you don't have competition, you'll probably come with your B game, your C game, whatever the case is. But you that's what you need to do. Come with your A game every single day. And if you can't, at least fake the funk. But anyways, I got to get back to work, man. I'm going to have to do an all-nighter. My injectors are here. My wife brought them last night. We had dinner. I didn't get nearly done what I wanted to get done. So I'm going to have to do an all-nighter tonight to prepare the truck so Earl can come in tomorrow and run I'm running the overhead, but he's going to double check everything. So hopefully I don't screw anything up. So anyways, so that's how we got in the truck, man. And there was a lot of highs and lows in there, man. And there's even a lot more stories I even have told you. Breakdowns, getting towed, this, that, a toolbox falling literally off to one of the trailers. The thing snapped. Dude, I got so many truths for you, man. You would literally dude, I love it, man. But I'm sick like that too. So trucking can be very lucrative, but it can also, it can bankrupt you. It can break you, man. So you have to have a strong will, a strong wife, or a strong significant other, a strong husband. You have to have that significant other that is extremely powerful and strong, not overbearing but somebody who's right by your side, encouraging you every step of the way. And, like my wife, just don't give up, whatever the case. And it's still a battle. We've had, times and I'm like, holy shit, man, how the hell, the shop cost is $1,700 a month just for the rent. And then you got insurance and utility bills, and the truck, we have a lot of money bills, and it's not like we live lavishly. I mean, her car's paid off. I have a truck payment. She's got a Harley payment. Other than that, we have just our regular bills, but we don't live amongst our means either. But we've had times when I'm like, holy shit, man, breakdowns and this and that. And all of a sudden you're like, man, you got 30 grand in the bank, and all of a sudden you're down to like 5,000. You're like, where did it go? This went, whatever. And it all seems to come at one time. Anyways, I'm done gabbing. I just wanted to give anybody new that is thinking about getting in the trucking or whatever, like I said, you can call me, 414-477-7845. My name is Kurt Sabella, and if you want some laughable truths, give me a holler. Josh, I hope this was helpful to you. But my first thing I would do is get a base of operation, and then concentrate on the equipment. And then, like I said, find yourself some good deals that you can pay off monthly or whatever the case is. But anyways, so I hope this video finds you well. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I got to get to work. Ciao.